Survival in the natural world has always been harsh, extremely small, big eaters weak, can't win strong and so on. It forms a food chain in nature. However, there is one thing at the top of the food chain that is not a dinosaur, but a megalodon shark. The film begins with the familiar male led from the first part with the name Jonah. This time, he is on a mission to uncover the activities of illegal discharge into the environment. Yuna is secretly sent to a barge inside a container when the crew on the barge is constantly stroking drums containing toxic waste into the ocean. Yuna quietly taking pictures to testify, and at the same time do not forget to take pictures of the discharge documents that have just been taken, when the sailors discovered and aggressively chased him. But our bald brother was still as powerful as before, constantly avoiding the crowd. The West wriggled away. It's like an empty place but black for you when you run to the end of the barge. Isn't it blurry? So he started to show off his face to each of the people who threatened them, and then I got all the evidence, but the other people just couldn't see that this was the case. He said goodbye and fell down the sea. It turns out that Arjona is not acting alone. His teammate Max flew a plane to pick it up. With an open mouth, Jonas got into the rescue, but he also had to perform to the best to endure. Meanwhile, at the Hainan Institute of Oceanography, China, Dr. Yao Ming, the director of the institute, is testing an ocean exploration suit of his own design. It not only protects the wearer under water pressure at depths of up to 25,000 charges, but also helps to increase the wearer's physical strength. After that, everyone was busy preparing for the 10th anniversary of the Institute of Oceanography there. Mrs. Hillary is a rich tycoon who financed the operation of this institute. At this ceremony, Dr. Du Min gave a touching speech about his father and sister who sacrificed for the cause of ocean exploration in Part 1. Following that, you are proud to announce a megalodon named Hai Ky. It is a female and is a super violent shark. The only god in captivity around the world. After Yu Min's great introduction is taking pictures with his idol. That idol is none other than Jonah, because he was the one who single-handedly stabbed the megalodon to death in the previous part. But the bald guy doesn't seem very happy. The next day, Dr. Du Min decided to do a test dive in the hope of being able to communicate with the British Sea Flag. The doctor then took out a special small device used to broadcast sonar that interacts with the Sea Flag. Just press a button and in an instant the megalodon appeared in front of him. Everyone inside also showed a tense expression, but Du Min was still extremely determined to continue the initial interaction. The Sea Flag seemed to have listened and turned its head. But right after that, it suddenly turned around, rushed towards Du Min so that everyone inside could only close their eyes and pray. Thinking that the doctor had to prey on the megalodon, Yu Min entered the room with a smile on his face. However, even though I did realize there was something wrong with the Sea Flag, after that, a teenage girl named Mazarine, who is the daughter of her biological sister who died in the previous part of Dr. Yu, is now being cared for by her biological uncle. The girl was then taken by Dr. Du Min and Jonah to visit. The Mana 1 Research Center is located in the middle of the sea. That night is also a full moon night. The sea flag inside the Institute of Oceanography seems to be hung up on something that makes it smash through the barrier to get out of the world. Outside world. The next morning was also the time when the team of scientists launched a new generation of submersibles to explore even deeper than the deepest Mariana Trench in the ocean. 2 submersibles were then ready to be launched. One is in charge of Yuno and the other is Yu Min. Things went very smoothly after that. The 2 submersibles just went down to the ocean floor in an instant, diving to 20,000 feet depth. But surprisingly, when the teenage girl emerged from the storage compartment, everyone was surprised because she was too young to take the risk of this expedition in the deepest part of the ocean. Drona was very angry and asked to cancel the expedition to return, but she said she stole an explorer armor and brought it at that time when everyone could not decide whether to go or return. The communication team on the Manar Center, one informed them that a megalodon was coming towards them. Knowing that it is impossible to turn upwards because it is possible to be attacked by the sea monster, Juna immediately ordered the submersible to go down at full speed to quickly pass through the transitional thermosphere directly below because Megalodon could not overcome this icy thermosphere. When the Megalodon gradually approached, they were surprised to find that it was a sea flag. People really couldn't understand how it could be here. This big fish made the impossible possible. As soon as the sea flag rushed to the rear, it was also at the same time that the 2 submersibles launched into the icy thermosphere and thereby cut off the tail of their sea flag. Then let the submersible turn on the low-frequency light mode, the frequency that the Megalodon couldn't see as they continued to descend. The sea flag was still following them. But everyone was more shocked when the scanner showed up to 3 Megalodons. All, including one with a huge size that no one had ever seen before. The strange thing is that these megalodons used to hunt separately, but now they appear in groups together. Turns out it was due to their breeding instinct. The explanation for the fact that the sea flag has turned into 2 submersibles in the past few days. Then quietly continued to lower the depth and proceed to the deep trench. Before them were the wonders of creation that mankind had never seen before. As they continued to move down, They were surprised to discover a mining station there, which turned out to be the people of Montest, his arch-nemesis for exposing him to befriend him. Prison 25 before. He and his henchmen are doing illegal mining in this place. It is worth mentioning why Montest has the technology to be able to go down to the depths of this chasm when his subordinates are planting explosives to break the Montest inside the submersible. Present 2 submersibles of John E. and Zoomtech are right below for fear of exposing the illegal exploitation even though his subordinates have not yet evacuated out of the explosion range. He ruthlessly activated the explosion. A series of dynamite blocks failed to let rocks fall, destroying 2 submersibles below. Both Iona and Zooming are very hard to let the ship dodge a series of falling rocks. While the communication team on the first Monar Center also lost connection with the 2 submersibles, they decided to use the rescue submersible to rescue. But to their disappointment, the lifeboat was vandalized by someone leaving them helpless. Beneath the ravine the situation had worsened. Jonah's ship's engine has been damaged, can no longer move, and the air inside the ship is also slowly running out. Fortunately, when they were able to connect to the Monar Center 1, but only to receive more bad news that the lifeboat was broken, it was impossible to get down there to save them. In the midst of this critical situation, the Drona had no choice but to put on the adventurer armor and walk back to the mining station they had encountered earlier, but it was a risky decision as the armor only provided enough oxygen for 2 hours, and the distance to the station is 3 kilometers. After dressing the Mazarine girl in armor, Yuna led everyone out of the ship to set foot on a place with a depth of 25,000 feet. Soon, Jonas also reunited with Dr. Jill Min's group. On the Magna, a group of people also split up to check the camera to find the saboteur. Meanwhile, Montest received a call from the tycoon who is the financial sponsor of Dr. Jill Min. It turned out that this woman was the mastermind. She hired the tester and his men to carry out illegal mining activities down here. She informed bold text that Dona and Real Min's group of people still alive and walking to the mining station, and the tycoon wants the Montest to come back kill them to cover up the crime. At this time, Dona's group was approaching the station when monsters that looked like sea lizards rushed to attack everyone. Despite their size, they were not very big, but because of them,